Good morning, afternoon, and evening, depending on where you are. I am thrilled to be here, and I am excited about presenting about SMART goals. And this is going to be a little interactive because I'd like to have you participate in giving some ideas as we go through what are SMART goals. Because it's a relatively large group, please use the chat in order to write your ideas, and I will put them up. I'm using PowerPoint at the moment, less as a presentation and more as a whiteboard with lots of fun, cool colors. So I appreciate your thoughts, and we are going to generate some SMART goals, or at least showing that we understand the concepts. So SMART is an acronym, and I'm going to tell you that not everybody defines SMART this way, and we're going to talk about the different ways of looking at SMART goals. But I believe for the work that we do, this is actually the best way to look at it. You're looking for goals that are specific, they're measurable, almost impossible, relevant, and time-bound. And we're going to talk through each of those separately so that you can come up with ideas for yourselves. And I would, sometimes I get stuck with words in English. I would, where's the word? Recommend. I would recommend that you have a piece of paper and pen with you so you can jot down some ideas for your specific projects, or type them up wherever you need to type them up, or shoot them into the chat, and we will use them hopefully as examples. So actually this morning I was listening to not a podcast, an Audible book called Drawdown, a comprehensive guide to dealing with climate change. And Paul Hawkins said something really profound. Like, if you're going down the wrong road and slow down, you're still going down the wrong road. So that place where we do the work we're doing, and every now and then we stop for a second, or we slow down to assess why we're doing what we're doing and what direction we're going in. If you're not reassessing what road you're going down, are you going down the road you want to be going to? Is it leading you where you want to go? Then the slowing down is actually not useful, because you're still continuing to go down that wrong road. So to me, the whole concept of SMART goals is to create the road, the path, the way to get your goals accomplished. And so that in the long run, you are fulfilling your mission and your vision. That is a whole nother conversation. Hold on, why are you not letting me go next? Doink. Okay, so specific. When we talk about goals needing to be specific, we're looking for language that doesn't have back doors, doesn't have, lack of clarity. I want to make the world a better place. And that's a lovely concept. I want to make the world a better place, but it's not specific. It's not specific about what are my skills, right? And it's not specific about what are my goals. What am I really trying to do? Okay, so how do I bring a concept, teaching every 12-year-old in my country is not specific enough. It's a wonderful concept. It's a wonderful goal to have, but it's not specific enough for somebody to look at that and go, that's something that can be done. That's something that can happen. So when you're looking for to define your specific goal, it really means digging into your mission and your vision, and picking out a piece of it and saying, here is what I can and will do now. And when you see how all, I actually think they needed to call these MARTS goals, because I think you actually get a better idea of how to define your specific goal once you start putting together the other pieces. How do I measure it? And and is it an almost impossible goal? And is it relevant? And is it time bound? So while we can start thinking about specific right now, and if there's anyone who would like to share or put into the chat something that they see as a specific goal for them to look at this, then we can do that now. But I actually think we're going to need to come back to this slide at some point during this conversation. And since I am seeing mostly Spanish at the moment in the chat, I'm going to move on to the next slide. We can always come back there. So measurable. What is the goal in having what is our purpose in having a measurable goal? So, and what does that mean? I can't measure how many people don't get raped. Okay, there's no way to measure, stopping rape. We can talk about how many of our students were able to use their skills to get out of a complicated situation, but there's no way to know what that would have turned into. So when we're talking about any prevention work, the question is, what are the measurable pieces of the work that we do? I can tell you that a measurable thing is, how many hours did I teach? How many people did I teach? How many people changed their perception of their ability to prevent violence before, comparing how they felt about their ability to do that before the course and how they could do that after the course. So there are many things that can be measured in a prevention program that aren't necessarily about, it stopped a rape, because that's not clearly measurable. So when you look at your goal, you want to see, how many am I doing in this project? Whether it's many people, how many, classes, how many organizations I work with, how do I measure success? Or how much change am I hoping to see between, we could look at how much, what is the difference between school success for students who were, before they had the course, my intervention, my program that I'm trying to put out there, and what are their teachers seeing after? Like, is there measurable change between the skills that I taught in my program and how it affects that student's ability to function in a school setting? That's measurable, okay? So measurable is about being an indicator of progress or an indicator of success. And success could be, and you're not just measuring your outcomes, you're also measuring your productivity, all right? So if you think about it in the head space of a factory, right? We bring in resources to the factory, we turn them into something awesome and amazing, and then we show the output. And the output isn't just that we created these, let's say, widgets. The output is, what did these widgets bring to the people who use them? So when we talk about violence prevention, what we're looking at is what skills or what value is the project or program that we are proposing, how it will affect the people who get it, and what does that effect have on their communities and themselves. And these need to be measurable. So Tasha, we used to look at test scores based on quantitative data and measured self-esteem, confidence, and body image using qualitative data. Wonderful. Yeah, wonderful, right? There are many ways of doing this, but when you're putting your goals together for your project, they have to be spelled out clearly. Great. Next. Almost impossible. So in many descriptions of SMART goals, the A is achievable and not almost impossible. And you know, I have a background in psychology. Not that that is my primary profession or direction, but what we know about achievable is it doesn't motivate. So when you pick an achievable goal, you know you can do it. You know you can achieve that. And what research has found is that an achievable goal doesn't motivate people to work hard from day one. What happens is there's a start because this is an exciting new project, and then it peters out because I can achieve this by the end date. Yeah, sure, not a problem. And then a rush at the end to get everything done. And oh my God, oh no, I didn't. But when you give yourself an almost impossible goal, that's hanging out there like, oh my God, if I do not work with all my power to achieve this goal by the end of this time, it's not going to happen. That's motivational. So a goal that's achievable is I'll teach 100 hours this month. A goal that's almost impossible is I will teach in every school in my district during this month. The impossible goal would be something like I'll teach every person in my district. Now, the only reason why that's impossible is because, one, there are going to always be people in your district who don't want to be taught or don't want to be part of your project, and there'll always be people you can't get to. So when you're figuring out what that goal has to be, what your goals are, you need to go further than just achievable. You need to look at, if what do I really want to see? I want to see empowerment, self-defense, or the violence prevention project that you've designed implemented in every school system. Great. What is almost impossible? Say 95%. Say 90%. You're there, you're almost there. But is that achievable? Yeah, hopefully that is achievable. But the goal is picking the piece that's going to keep you the hungriest and the most motivated to make sure that it happens. That's what an almost impossible goal is about. I'm so excited that there's some translating going on here. I'm assuming that's what's happening, that there's translating going on here in the chat. That's fantastic. Great. Next. Relevant. So here again, in other models of teaching SMART goals, the R is sometimes realistic. I don't want realistic goals. I want crazy, almost impossible, motivational goals. I don't want realistic. For personal training or weight loss or something like that, it could be that a realistic goal is actually the best one for making sure that things work the way they should in that system. But for us, it's not enough. for looking to set goals for social change, for looking to set goals for changing systems of oppression, for looking for goals for change, for eradicating violence. Okay, wait a minute. Eradicating violence, is that possible? No, it's almost impossible. It is impossible. If you ask me, eradicating violence is impossible because I'm not in control of people who perpetrate violence. What is almost impossible is bringing, is changing the statistics. So if we know today 1 in 3 women will experience violence within their lifetime, that's the World Health Organization numbers. What if our collective goal in this movement was 1 in 30,000? Now, that feels like an almost impossible goal, but it's achievable and it's relevant. So when we look at the R, we're looking for things are relevant. Now, relevant, for us is also makes a lot of sense because, if we want the world to be a happier, less violent place, we could give puppies to everyone. And everyone would learn how to be happy because puppies are definitely about teaching people how to be happy. But is that relevant to what we're trying to do? So it might be a great idea, but if it doesn't have relevancy to the work that we're trying to do, then, this is not, it's not a project that would fit in what we want. Everybody wants puppies, I know. Okay.
The question from Aviva.
Question.
The question originally from Rena that Aviva translated.
Okay. Can you tell me where that is and what that is? Because I don't see it.
Sure. It says, I have doubts regarding the guidelines to measure process and achievement of objectives, since in my professional area, we have validated guidelines to measure certain areas, but I'm not clear on how to do it in a self-defense and empowerment project, since at the moment there is a validated guideline. It could only be a survey made by me, for example, that does not make the process of quantifying, does that not make the process of quantifying the achievement of objectives less scientifically valid?
Okay, so here is where we're going to get into that sticky space of research and scientific validity. I believe that every profession has its standards and its benefits. I'm not going to become a scientific researcher in this lifetime. It's just not going to happen. That doesn't mean I don't want to measure what's going on in my programs, okay? And the efficacy as far as I can see. So the example for empowerment self-defense work is, in order to be considered a scientific, scientific research with the ability to prove change at the level of significance that this program significantly changed the lives of, then yes, there have to be questions that are vetted and tested, and you're going to have to do, blind, what do they call, blind trials, where you get 50 people to show up, 25 of them get random. Of the 50 people, 25 get sent into one group and the other 25 get what you're doing. And then you test, how did that affect their lives? So is there something that you did that changed lives and was long lasting? Like, we want to see that the change wasn't just the day after your intervention, but 2 years later, retest them and see. Excuse me. And that the other group that only got somebody lecturing to them or handed out pamphlets and told to look at it, so that's that's a scientifically valid assessment and measure. But the measures in a good project, in a good business project, okay? I think we need to tease out the two different types of measurement here. One is measurement of efficacy of the intervention that we are proposing. That's important and probably should be done by an external organization that is expert in doing efficacy testing, and internal measurements of, is what I'm doing relevant? So I'll give an example of that measure also, okay? It's at one point in time at LLEV, so we knew our teachers could teach approximately 3,000 hours in a year, okay? We had known that, we had seen, we have enough teachers to do this. So now I need to decide, how do I want them teaching those 3,000 hours? It could be doing lots of courses that are 30 hours long, okay, and reaching small groups of women, which are 10 or 20 or 30 people max in 30-hour classes, and seeing how does that work. Or we could have said, no, you know what, we're going to dedicate this year to our teachers only teaching one-offs. Go into a community, go into a program, go into a school and do 1.5 to 3 hour courses and do lots and lots of those. Now, what am I looking to change? Well, if I'm looking to change the women or girls in the courses so that they now have skills that are now so deeply within them that they can move safely through the world, or safer through the world, then investing the time and energy in doing those 30-hour courses makes more sense. But if I need to change how the community looks at the work that we're doing so that we get more people excited and more people who want to sign up for those 30-hour courses, then maybe I need to invest the time and energy of the students into, my teachers, into teaching short classes to larger groups, and then measure how many of these groups then translate into registration for longer courses. So now I can see I invested in short programs. See, is there a translation between people who were in a short course and more people signing up for longer courses? So that's not a scientific measurement. That's a measurement of efficacy. Am I being effective in the work that I'm doing by putting time and energy into this in order to move the dial on how people see what we do? Okay, but that's measurable. So I'm not sure if I 100% answered that question, but I can tell you that Jocelyn Hollander has given permission for people to repeat using her measurements. So LLEV took Jocelyn's measurements and we used them with our impact classes over a year period, and then repeated that study with the fully vetted list of questions. We changed it a little, we added a little, we took a little away, but you can compare the things that are exactly the same. And that's doable, but again, that's a different set of measurements, and it's an important piece of measurements. But if you are not a research junkie like I am, it's a complicated world to understand how to do it well. ESD Global in that respect is, we hope before the end of 2020 being what it is, we'll be able to provide our instructors with online links to research questions to be given to students pre and post. But that's a whole nother animal. So, but again, measuring isn't always about measuring the efficacy, the change within the student. It could be measuring all sorts of different things. And the last letter to talk about is time bound. And time bound tends to scare people. And the reason time bound scares people is that we want you to be bold. So a timeline that's going to take 5 years to roll it out, I'm not talking about a strategic plan. That's a whole different thing. A project timeline that is spread out over a 5-year process. I know as a business person that it's not even relevant for me to look at, to invest in, because you can't predict all of the crazy things like worldwide pandemics that might show up during that 5-year period. So when I see a project that is so spread out that it's giving everybody the right amount of time to do each piece and to not be motivated or to just chew over everything or be in committee for forever, and yeah, that doesn't excite me. I want to see something that's got a start date and an end date. I want to see the milestones. I want them to be bold. I want you to tell me, in general, I think it might take 4 months to do this, but I believe I can do it in 2. And I'm going to do it in 2 because this product has to be done and out and functioning in that amount of time. So when you build your start date and your end date and your milestones, and those are the pieces, those are important. It's important to see the steps from here to there, to this, to that, to this, to end of project and celebration. Got to be a celebration at the end of that. I want you to take it the first time, look at it, and then see if you can boldly shorten it. What would you need? See, many times the mistake in building a project is it's all about what I could do, not what I could do with the right resources and not what I could do with the right team. So, and looking at your resource, your ability to say, if I had these resources so that I could hire this team, we could do this project in this amount of time, that's exciting for investors because they see that you understand that this isn't just, I'm a good person doing good, just, give me money so I can go do good in the world. And we're going to get something done and it'll be all nice and wonderful. And it'll change the lives of the people who are in this program. And yeah, not good enough. That's not good enough today. Today, we want to see tight, understandable goals that make sense. So just going back and looking at what's going on. And then I'd like to open this up because the whole chat thing is not working for me. I'm not quite sure. I can't follow. So I'd rather I'll turn this off and then turn this into a more of a discussion because I think that would be better for all of us. A word that might fit your R rather than realistic is unreasonable. Unreasonableness is a quality of visionaries. Yeah, I agree with you, Kate. What box where? I don't see any box. Unreasonable. So unreasonable to me is closer to the almost impossible. I happen to not like unreasonable only because I always look for positive words. And unreasonable, I mean, maybe we could revamp the understanding of unreasonable. But I'm looking, I look for positive terms that motivate people to smile and be positive and almost impossible. So yes, specific, measurable, almost impossible, relevant, and maybe even a little irreverent, if you want to get there, and time bound. So why don't we, I'm pretty sure that my last slide down there was just, oh yeah, shift happens. If 2020 is an attestment to anything, it is that shift happens. So yes, you're going to create your goals. You're going to create them using a process of, making them specific and measurable and almost impossible and relevant and time bound. And you're going to put them in this beautiful Gantt chart where you have all your milestones and who's going to be doing what. And you're going to build your team, and you're going to, assess your resources and what you need in order to make this dream happen. And then shift happens. Global pandemic, shut down. All of a sudden, you can't work in this direction. You have to work in that direction. You have to move, whatever it may be. So investors generally don't get scared by shift because they pick people and they pick teams who they believe have the resiliency to navigate shift in a positive, healthy way. So understand that whatever you create and build as your foundation for your project and moving forward, it is not carved in stone. And I've always made it clear to my teams that I will not be upset if something stops the project from happening or derails something along the way or something has to change. What I'll be upset is if you can't explain to me why. Like if you can't go back, you can't see, we didn't notice. And I'm going to give you an example. Okay. So one of the companies I am invested in is setting solar power, bringing solar power to, but industrial size fields of solar power to Africa. And their first major project was in Rwanda at the Agahozo Shalom Youth Village. And they created the prediction, the model of how much energy the field would be able to produce in a year based on 4 different geographical climate research projects in the area that predict how much sunshine is there in Rwanda in this area in this period of time. And then after the field was up, they were producing at 30% less than what they had predicted. So as an investor, that's a big deal. Why are they producing 30% less than predicted? Did they not use the right materials to build the field? Are the fields getting dirty too fast and they're not being cleaned in a way that allows all of the sun that's predicted to be transferred? Like, this is complicated. And or is there something else going on? And the answer to the question of why is there 30% less, was based, even with all of the geographical services predictions, there was 30% less sunshine that year. Something that was not within their control. It wasn't about the fields, and it wasn't about the dirtiness, the dust. It wasn't about anything that humans could have changed, but that the predictions that were given by the only services available to give them were wrong. Or they could have been right as predictions, but that's not what happened. So that understanding how, being able to answer the question, okay, you have to shift, you have to reassess, you thought this would work, it didn't, okay, now what? Being able to do that, when I look at a company to invest in, I want to see a team that doesn't scare them, that they know if we have to change this, we can do that too. If we have to go online to start teaching now, we can do that too. If we have to buy a bus and then travel from community to community and live in that bus for 1 month a year so that we can get to other populations that we want to bring this to, we will do that. But that they have the fortitude and the resiliency to say, okay, we got stuck. Now we have to think through how to make this happen and shift and be flexible and be able to be creative in solving problems, because shift happens. And with that, I'm going to turn this off. And yes, I said irreverent and not irrelevant. I am probably one of the larger believers in irreverently looking at solutions. Yeah, don't tell me it can't be done. Anybody want to ask a question? Trying to read some of the, while we're waiting here for someone to speak up. So Kim, I see it says, I've been amassing research articles and studies on ESD. I am a research junkie, and I have a Dropbox that's got hundreds of articles that have to do with ESD or are pertinent in some way. And if you'd like to be added to that Dropbox, you're welcome to. And if you would like to upload things there, we would all be thrilled. There are probably about 50 people who are active in that Dropbox at the moment so that we can make sure that everybody can see what's going on in the world of research and empowerment self-defense.
I'd love to be added. Thank you.
Great. Easy peasy.
I have a question.
Sure. And who is that?
Rotem.
Hi, Rotem.
Hi. I'm curious to know, as an investor, how you ask, like how you understand if the people that you choose have the ability and the creativity that you're looking for. Like, how can you figure it out on what kind of question or what are you looking for?
So it's a good question. And here's one of the places where I think how we invest in social entrepreneurship or social change is unfair compared to how we look at regular entrepreneurship. So most investors understand that without a doubt 8 out of 10 startups will fail. But for some reason, when it comes to social entrepreneurship or philanthropy, if that's how it's being looked at, and social justice and social change stuff, we want 100% success, and there's not going to be 100% success. So all I can tell you is that one of the things that social entrepreneurship has done not as well is understanding that they too need to speak the language of business and understand how to implement things in a way that aligns with good business practice. It is no longer enough to do good. You have to do good well. And to do good well is you have to understand business practices. And one of the pieces of what ESD Global does and is doing through this pitch competition also is helping social entrepreneurs and activists and advocates to get their skills together in the world of how to present with a business mindset. And I believe that's super important. So How do I know? Like most investors, you do a bunch of interviews, you see who you're working with, you get a feeling that, wow, this person, they really got that spark in their eye and they answer their questions intelligently. And I also want to see a bit of humility. Like when I talk to somebody, I want to see they know how to listen, which means that they're open to learning. I want to hear good questions, even if they are questions to my questions. Like, I want to know that this person is engaged in a conversation where they're not coming like, I know what to do, don't tell me what to do, this is the right way to do it, and let's do it. Yeah, to me, that's not who's gonna work. And I have enough experience to say that those are the people who are not succeeding. But somebody who can come in and go, oh, wow, you asked me a question that I don't have an answer for right here. And I'm not going to make one up on the spot, but I will get back to you with an answer because that was a good question and I didn't think about it. Wow. To me, that's huge. If I'm interviewing somebody about their project, that's huge. It is okay not to have the answer for everything. And I believe it shows some humility to be able to say, even in an interview where you're pitching your stuff, wow, that is a great question. I'm not sure I have the right answer right now, but I will get that for you. To me, that's much more important. Did that help?
Yes, interesting.
Yes.
Thank you.
Cece.
Okay, I got a question.
Go for it.
Now, I already spoke to you about this, that I wanted to do something for immigrants who come here, something to help stop the bullying and help them acclimate to the culture. Now, that means I'm gonna have to go up to, Masada Klita, I have to go to the immigration office and I have to go to all these people to try to get funding. What do they wanna hear?
Good question. So what I'm not an expert in is bureaucracies and how to move them to do the right thing. That is above my pay grade, and I don't think I don't think the source of salvation will come from there. That being said, I believe it's important to stay on their radar. To not necessarily, you're not going to get funding from them directly. That doesn't mean you won't be hired to do programs for them when they see that what you're doing is making a difference. And that's complicated, but the sad reality is bureaucracies and governments are, sometimes it feels like trying to save the Titanic only having a teaspoon as a rudder. It's just, it's not, yeah, it's tough. So I'm sorry I can't be more helpful than that, but I would like you to be able to pitch your idea and project to people who actually have money that they can move and can move quickly.
I registered. I have a shrink working with me, a psychologist working with me. I got it going. We're gonna do it, Zasha. So,
Great.
thank you.
Looking forward to hearing more about it.
Thanks.
Hey, Yudit, I have a question.
Yep.
I want to say thank you because you're really inspiring me to think bigger about my project. I know what I'm doing right now, but I'm still formulating those sort of bigger objectives and goals looking into the future. So as I'm formulating those goals, I'm having a bit of internal debate with myself about reach versus depth. Not necessarily that you can't have both, but when I'm thinking about, how do I want to articulate the goal of my project? Do I want to be the biggest network, or do I want to be sort of the most comprehensive experience or the deepest network? And I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that.
So great, fantastic question. I'm a big believer. Look, after doing what the empowerment self-defense work and martial arts and all that stuff for a good 20 years, I went and got my MBA. And that was 2012. So now I've got 8 years of, being able to use my MBA skills in this world. And I think one of the things that really helped me understand how to build a robust organization is looking at it the way we look at finance. Okay, so when you look at finance, you will not invest all your money in one place. If you want to have money for your retirement, you're not going to stick it all in bonds or all in the bank or all in, equities or all in, it's not going to all be in one spot. And so I believe the same thing is when we create organizations that are trying to bring skills for safety into the world, skills for prevention. I want to look down now this is different than a project, okay? An organization and how do I create my organization is different than a specific project that has a time-bound, process of, for the next 8 months, this is my project and this is what I'm doing. And the reason I'm doing it is because I want these outcomes. Okay, so that's slightly different conversation. When I look at an organization, what I try to help them do is to build a portfolio of products. Okay, so just like I would want to have some of my money in the bank and some of my money in a 501, in a 401k, whatever it's called in the US, and some of my money in bonds and some of my money making more money or taking a little more risk in the equities world, in, stock trades, whatever. So how do I do that as an instructor? Well, to me, that's like, how do I build my clients? I want to spend some of my time working with clients who can not only pay full price, but if I pitch it well enough, I can charge them an extra 10 to 20% because they know that that extra money is going to go to subsidize the work that I do for free in these communities, and they're okay with that. So I'm going to do some work here, but these aren't the people that I really want to be teaching them, but they can't pay for it. So I have to look at how my income stream comes in. How much do I do short-term stuff? Do I spend time and energy doing short-term stuff? How much do I do long-term stuff? How much do I work with organizations? How much do I work with individuals? That's me assessing my resources, and that's personal resources. How much time do I have? Now, I know Toby, you were the one who asked the question, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I know you travel a lot. And when you travel, you need to assess, well, what can I do in this space? How much can I give? And how much do I, how much of my year do I want put on, going into new places and just, exploring new communities to share this with? And how much do I want to just hunker down in one spot for an extended period of time and do deeper work in this hunkered down spot? So to me, that if we look at this in building an organization as as how to build a profile, a portfolio that makes sense for us as individuals and as an organization, and I think that would help you make that decision. Like I said, LLF needed, at some point we said, we are going to do 100 one-offs in 2017 or 2016, because we needed to get to more people in order to not have to work so hard explaining to individuals why this is important. And the year before that, when I would go to a conference or a meeting or any place, and I would ask the question, has anyone heard of El Halev? The answer was inevitably no. Since 2018, I have never been in a meeting where there has not been at least one or two people who know what LLM is. We were able to change that, and we were able to change that by going for superficial programs, but a lot of them, so that we could change how people hear our name in order to do more of the deep work. And now we're working closely with a whole bunch of organizations that are the bureaucrats and the hard people to sell this to, because they're not the ones who make decision about money and programs and things. But we had to have a plan. Did that help?
Yeah, super interesting. Thank you.
Great. I think Tasha had her hand up.
Did. So for this project that we're doing for the pitch, I'm looking into different ways that I can actually collect data and make it relevant for when we're doing the pitch. But then this is something that is a new project. It's not necessarily something that's been done before. So what are certain things that you would find relevant, or you would find intriguing, that would be good for specifically the pitch competition?
And again, I think the measurements need to make sense.
Okay.
So if the goal, it's hard for me to do that without actually knowing the specific project. But what I can tell you is I am available as a coach for this also. I can't promise that I can work one-on-one with absolutely everybody on this call at the moment, but I will definitely do everything within my power to be useful. So maybe, Tasha, it would just be easier if you and I talk about that individually, because it's complicated. So yeah, I think, how many things you're doing. I want to have 20 videos pre-recorded so that I can send them out based on need. Okay. I want to have, that's measurable. Did you get to the 20 or did you not get to the 20? I want to release 5 videos and put enough time and energy in the social media of it and the marketing of it so that totally we will have 10,000 views. Great, fantastic, that's measurable.
Yeah. Thank you.
And you can also, like, now that I'm thinking about it, and yes, you got the 10,000 views with the hope that, and let's say those were free classes, because you just want to get people engaged and involved, but they translated into 300 clicks on my for pay course. Yeah, that's measurable. And I want 80% feedback positive. Great. You have a feedback measure for your courses. People fill it out. Most people, I think it's like 10 to 20% will actually do the feedback. And of the 10 to 20% who do the feedback, if you can get 80% are happy with your product, great, fantastic, good job. So those are all things that are measurable. Was that a little more helpful for everybody? Yeah. Awesome. I'm so excited to see all these names of people I don't know. We have got to get to know each other. Very exciting. Are we good?
Yudit, I have a question.
Sure.
And this one is rather complex, so I'm not sure if you want to tell me, talk about it later, that's fine too. I'll take a stab. So the project that I'm envisioning has 3 different components, and it's integrating an ESD component into an existing environmental or agricultural project. And that would require training local trainers in a developing country setting. Now, as I've been working on developing this concept of the project, I've had discussions with three different organizations actually. I've brought together to produce grant application. We've made a lot of progress in that direction with three separate organizations, each filling a role, a component of the project. Now, my question is both about for this pitch specifically, but then also more generally in just moving forward with realizing this project. One of the struggles or things I'm debating is by involving three separate existing organizations. On one hand, one of the advantages is that they each already have their expertise that they bring to the table. So for example, one can just train the trainers to do the ESD and I just plug them in and they can go do it. Meaning I don't have to do it myself. I don't have to already know how to be a ESD self-defense instructor to make that piece happen. The disadvantage, of course, is then I've got three different existing organizations that I'm working with, and I have to figure out how to pay the ones that are doing a service, like implementing the ESD training and training the trainers that I want to go out and do that component of my project. Yeah. So I guess one question is for this pitch, I mean, I'm still debating about, do I develop this pitch on a more conceptual level? They're like, this is the idea. This is what I want to do. And it could involve X, Y, and Z organizations. It doesn't have to, because there are other ways to skin a cat.
See, wishy-washy isn't going to work here. So,
right. Or I could write it very concretely and say, this organization in this location will do blah, 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 and I need X dollars to make that happen.
So my recommendation to you is, if you've never actually watched Shark Tank, go watch some.
I have.
Right. So no, because that's really what, what people are going to be looking for, what the judges are going to be looking for is, do you have a concrete understanding of who's going to do what? Okay, there are things that I don't do. Okay, I would love to do, we do teacher trainings at ESD Global. That's what we do. That's our wheelhouse. And I don't have to, outsource that to anybody. I got it. What I don't do is I don't run, dojos all over the world, which means I don't have mats that I can just work on every place I go. And I don't do home hospitality. Like I'm not a hotel, or hotel services. So of course I need to make a connection with a service provider for a whole bunch of things, pieces that I need in order to make my programs work. But again, I think the difference that has to be clear here is your project a project, or is it a organization? And this pitch competition is specifically for new and exciting projects. You can be an old organization with a new idea. You can be a new non-existent organization with a project idea, which may actually turn into an organization. But it's not for, we have this organizational idea and we do good work and we're going to do good work and we're going to continue, and here are our partners and here's why we're wonderful. But what is our project? My project is, I want to see if this is going to work, bringing this into the agricultural community. In order to do that, I need to do 3 teacher trainings in the next 6 months. They're going to be in these 3 locations. I'm going to have a manager who oversees these graduates and makes sure that they start doing the work in the ground, and somebody who's coordinating conversations with the organizations on the ground who want the services of ESD in their programs. That's a project. Does that help?
Yeah. So basically you're saying you want the concrete version. Yeah, got it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, my name is Dan Matakaya from Nairobi, Kenya.
Hi.
I'm fine. I want to thank you for the information. Indeed, I feel that I've been enlightened and imparted with the knowledge that you have shared with us. I'm blind. I'm totally blind, and this is as a result of the attack. I was attacked by my ex-wife, who poured acid on my face. After that, I realized that there is a problem within our society whereby we have a lot of cases of gender-based violence against men, but no one is trying to address the issue. So I took it upon myself to address the issue. But now the problem is that we are in a society whereby the society itself does not accept that men are victims of gender-based violence. So I feel like I'm struggling to try and sell the idea, even though people understand that gender-based violence is rampant within our society and it's a global thing. I can say it's an epidemic, yeah, because it's everywhere. But how well can I approach people to understand and buy the idea so that we can have a safe society for all of us?
Yes. So Dan, I'm thrilled that you're here, and I'm thrilled that you're part of this. I can tell you that ESD Global is absolutely dedicated to reducing violence against all human beings, no matter their gender or affiliation or religion or race or color or any of the ways you could define human beings. If you are a human, you deserve to live a safe life. And we will do what we can to help push programs that are about prevention. So I am honored that you shared with us your story, and feel blessed that you are with us in this. I can put you in connection with some of our partners in Africa, specifically in Nigeria, which would be wonderful. And yes, we are open to hearing this. Absolutely. This is without a question a project that is aligned with the work that we're doing. No human should be a victim of violence. End of conversation. And we need to work together to make sure that the world is a safer place for everyone.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I have another question if you don't mind. I'm sorry.
Sure, go for it.
First question is, has ESD been used in schools for children against bullying? Who did it? Where can I find them?
LLEV, yes. Yeah, and there are others. So Aviva, if you're not on the Facebook group of the ESD Global Movement, it would be a smart thing for you to do that, because that's a great place to ask the question. And I am certain you will get lots of responses from other people who have done this work. So working with bullies, but yes, also in Israel, LLEV is the place to go for that one. But yeah, Colorado, I know Impact Colorado does bullying work. And there's a whole bunch of our people. And Tasha just wrote that she ran a program.
Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome. I'll tell you, I wanted to do Rock and Water, like, because it had, my plan originally before I saw this pitch was to go to do Rock and Water in the Netherlands, because it has all the numbers. They have like studies all over the world showing that their program has had the efficacy. But then I saw that you're doing this. I'm like, wait a minute, didn't I learn all this? But I didn't know how to translate it into, I'm still waiting. Hannah's going to give me the PDF from English because my Hebrew sucks. But anyway,
Great.
if I can translate the ESD into it. but as you say, it can be. So great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks.
Fantastic. Rina, I wish I spoke Spanish.
Muchas gracias, Judith. No sé si se entiende, pero independientemente de que este taller no fuera en inglés, ¿me entiendes? Estoy muy agradecida de haber venido porque me hizo aterrizar cómo tengo que trabajar para concursar. ¿Se entiende?
Yeah, Maeve, you can help
¿Sí?
me?
Yeah, before this, she didn't know that this was going to be all in English, so she came, but she stayed because she wants to improve. That's what she told me before that. She didn't say it right now. Yeah. Anything else that I missed? Eva or algo?
Eso que estoy agradecida por esto, porque mi idea, I participate the last week with an idea so unmaterial. With this class, I understand that I must work to form that in a specific way. Si yo no hubiera estado acá, no lo hago. Without this class, I don't work correctly. ¿Entiende?
Yeah, and at the beginning, she just said she was very grateful.
Work hard for this opportunity.
Gracias. Ciao.
I'm so glad you're here and I'm so glad you're doing this.
Gracias.
De nada. Are we good? I mean, if there aren't other questions, we can certainly wrap this up a little early. I think it was a lot of information. I think you got what you need to move forward. And if you feel the necessity to ask a clarifying question of me, you can email me at Yudit@DSD-Global or through the website. They will find me, they will hunt me down and make sure I get your questions. Don't worry about that. And it would be my pleasure.
Gracias.
I would also just like to second Yudit saying that the Facebook page is a great resource because there are so many people doing so many types of ESD all across the world. And you might be doing something that's very closely aligned with somebody else. So check that out and reach out, and we would love to hear from you.
Maeve, I would like to add to this, if that's okay. Especially you have all received an invitation to the Teams channel. And on Teams, if you're not familiar with Teams or you're uncomfortable using it, please reach out to me directly. You have also received a personal email with my email. Reach out to me. I'm happy to take the time to walk you through it because Teams allows as well, there's a bunch of documents that can help you further. These presentations will also be uploaded in there, but it is also a great way to connect with one another. Just as the Facebook ESD movement group, I've been going through all the registrations and they're very, very, very inspiring. And we are all trying to figure out very new things here. We're all breaking new ground one way or another, and we could actually really help each other out. So feel free. Teams is a great way to either start a chat with a personal someone that you think that, they might be working on a project that I could have questions about or could support the other way around, or throw out a general question in Teams. People might connect a lot faster than you think. So that is something, please do. I'm learning it myself, ask for help. Yudit once advised, it was once of the woman millionaire tips and tricks, call a friend. And No, we're a bunch of friends together and we're all working for the same thing. It's not because it's a competition that we are not supporting one another. Competition is just an excuse to make all these things happen, right? So use it. I'm also here. In the Teams channel, you will also have a little folder that says coaches. There's all the contact info is there for people even with specific skills, and also general feedback is also very good. For next week, because by next weekend we'll be asking you to transfer the videos. For next week on Tuesday, Tasha is organizing an amazing webinar on creating social media content. Same time, be there because social media works miracles. That's one. And two, we have heard your request during the webinar of Clemens last Tuesday on practicing the pitch. SMART goals now might even help you further. I will reach out to you and propose a few moments to perhaps organize some pitch practice so that we can check in with each other and see, this is how far I got, how does it come across, am I getting my message across, etc. So I will reach out to you, but by email and through Teams, so please keep an eye on both of those. Then if you want help orally, reach out to me. I am here and I'm in a similar time zone. I'm based in Belgium, so that could also be easier perhaps. And yeah, let's help out each other because it's really moving and there's so much happening. Well, anyway, so if you have questions, please reach out.
Thanks. Thanks
Okay.
very much.
Gracias.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
No, thank you. Thank you. Ah!
Yeah.
I get all excited and I don't know where to get my energy.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.